The colossal orbital complex known as Sovereigns drifted silently through the void between distant stars. Larger than most moons, its vast steel spires stretched outward like the limbs of a cosmic arachnid, cold and patient. Within its radiant halls, the most powerful entities in known space had gathered, not to debate morality, but to decide the fate of civilizations. High Commander Zalith Vorn stood at the center of the council chamber, her towering form composed of translucent crystalline lattice that refracted light into shifting prisms across the walls. She represented the Dominion, an interstellar coalition of 12 species that had ruled this quadrant of the galaxy for over 2,000 years. They claimed to guide lesser civilizations toward progress. In truth, they hunted them. Around Zalith, the delegates of the Concord assembled. Vaporous luminaries drifted above the floor, exchanging thoughts through harmonic pulses. Clockwork sentinels clicked softly as quantum matrices calculated probabilities. Botanical envoys rooted themselves along the chamber's edges, fronds swaying in measured rhythm. Different forms, different worlds, but all shared the same purpose: expansion. Esteemed delegates, Zalith intoned, her voice chiming like struck crystal. We convene to select the next target for assimilation. At her gesture, a luminous projection ignited in the air. Star systems unfolded in 3 dimensions, rotating slowly as streams of data cascaded through the chamber. The Dominion's process was refined and merciless. Recon vessels were dispatched decades in advance, observing developing worlds from beyond detection ranges. The criteria never changed: a civilization advanced enough to exploit, yet too primitive to resist. Our probes have identified multiple viable candidates, Zalith continued, but one system exceeds all others in strategic value. The projection narrowed to a modest yellow star. 9 planets orbited it. The 3rd glimmered blue and green. Catalog entry, Hellion 3, announced an automaton delegate. Indigenous species refer to themselves as humans. Data flooded the display. Population centers, energy outputs, military infrastructure. Estimated population, 7.8 billion. Governance divided among nearly 200 rival states. No unified planetary authority, no faster-than-light capability, no orbital defenses, atomic weapons present but obsolete by Dominion standards. A wave of approval rippled through the chamber. This was perfection. A fractured species, technologically curious but strategically naive. Assess resistance potential, demanded war strategist Korthax Wren, his arthropoid frame leaning forward. Negligible, Zalith replied. Their militaries are structured for internal conflict. No planetary command network. Projections indicate capitulation within days. Satisfied murmurs echoed. This was how every conquest went. Overwhelming force. Brief demonstration. Surrender. Then refinement, turning the conquered into labor, resources, infrastructure. The vote passed without hesitation. Earth was designated assimilation target 847. 200 vessels of the 4th Compliance Fleet were assigned, not because it was necessary, but because excess ensured spectacle. None of them suspected this conquest would be different. 3 weeks earlier, Dr. Elena Park stared at her monitor in the Helios Observatory, her temples aching from exhaustion. The data scrolling past her eyes refused to resolve into anything familiar. At first, the signals had been dismissed as cosmic interference. Then patterns emerged. Structure. Intent. Something artificial was broadcasting from the outer edge of the solar system. Elijah, she called. Look at this. Her assistant swallowed hard as new layers of translation snapped into place. They're not hiding anything, he whispered. Their technology is so advanced we didn't recognize it as language. The screen shifted, schematics, coordinates, and then something far worse. Maps of Earth. Not just continents, but population densities, military installations, power grids. They're analyzing us, Alina said quietly. "This is preparation." Over the following days, the truth unraveled piece by piece. Conquest protocols, assimilation schedules, psychological profiles. Earth was a target, and humanity was being evaluated like livestock. Within 48 hours, Alina found herself deep beneath the Pentagon, seated in a sealed chamber alongside generals and intelligence directors. Operation Farwatch had already confirmed her findings. 15 unidentified craft were maneuvering through the Kuiper Belt, their cloaking imperfect but deliberate. "We estimate 6 months before engagement," General Thomas Calder said grimly. 6 months? Against a civilization capable of crossing stars. "What options do we have?" someone asked. "Few," came the answer. "Best case, diplomacy. Worst case, extinction." Then Alina revealed the breach. "We found a vulnerability in their communication architecture," she said. "An embedded access point. We've been inside their network for days." Silence followed. What they discovered was chilling. The Dominion wasn't exploring, it was harvesting. 846 civilizations had already fallen. None had ever repelled them. But then Alina noticed something else. A pattern. Every conquered species shared one trait. They were peaceful. They had evolved on stable worlds. Abundant resources, minimal competition. Conflict existed, but never total war, never annihilation, never a willingness to burn everything rather than submit. Human history flooded the screen. Ice ages, plagues, world wars, nuclear brinkmanship. "Earth is an anomaly," Alina said. "We were forged under relentless pressure. Survival here required violence, endurance, and adaptation. Nearly every major technological leap we've made was born from warfare." The realization spread through the room like a slow-burning fire. The Dominion had never faced a species that refused surrender as a concept. Humanity didn't need to win. It needed to make conquest unbearable. The decision was unanimous. They would send a message. 3 months later, beneath the White House, the transmission was ready. Engineers from around the world coordinated the final broadcast, one that would reach the Dominion fleet and every world under its control. Once sent, it couldn't be undone. Alina steadied herself and looked into the lens. "This is Dr. Alina Park, speaking for Earth." The message was simple, direct, unapologetic. "We know you are watching us. We know you intend to take our world, and we know you expect us to surrender." Images followed. Ancient battles, sieges, cities reduced to rubble but never yielding. "We are not like the civilizations you have conquered. We are a species shaped by conflict." Footage shifted. Endurance hunts, frozen migrations, soldiers fighting in ruins long after hope was gone. "We have chosen extinction over submission. We have built weapons capable of ending our own world, and accepted that outcome rather than kneel." The doctrines followed: guerrilla warfare, insurgency, mutually assured destruction, the art of making victory meaningless. "You rely on rational surrender. We do not." The final words carried no rage, only certainty. "If you come for our world, understand this. We will not merely resist. We will adapt. We will study you, and we will spread what we know. Victory over us will cost you everything." The transmission ended. Aboard the Dominion flagship, High Commander Zathara froze as the message concluded. No species had ever breached their network. No target had ever spoken first. Worse, this message wasn't a threat. It was instruction. Reports flooded in. Across occupied worlds, unrest ignited. Species long pacified were downloading human war doctrines, learning resistance, learning sacrifice. 3 core systems declared neutrality within hours. For the first time in 2 millennia, the Dominion faced something it could not calculate. Humanity hadn't fired a shot. but it had taught the galaxy how to fight. Orders came down from Sovereign's reach. All fleets were to hold position. The operation against Earth was suspended indefinitely. As the Armada lingered in the dark, the commanders understood the truth too late. They had meant to conquer a planet. Instead, they had encountered a species that weaponized war itself. And the age of effortless conquest was over.